bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, ba-ba-dum. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, ba-ba-dum. Hi, friends. Good evening. Great to see you all. My name is Joette Calabrese, and we are here to do one thing every Monday night, and one thing only, and that is to talk about homeopathy. I teach you what I know, in hopes that you will find your way through the world, the wonderful world of homeopathy, you know, the medicine that we call God's medicine. And so, my friends, it's great to see you. Hello, friends. For those of you who are new, that's what we're all about. For those of you who know me, welcome. It's great to see you all. Tonight we're going to be talking about the most common ailments around cell salts. I want your input too. I'm looking forward to the way you use the cell salts. And we'll talk a little bit more about what they are in case you missed last week. But if you did, just go back and look at last week because it's the it's the part one. This is kind of part two of sorts. Let's see, nothing yet. Can you hear me? You don't hear me. Is it possible? Silent here. Silent here. Hello, hello. Silent here. Sound is fine, says Susie. Sorry, Mindy. Silent here. Can you hear me? I'm able to hear. Okay, greetings from Deborah. Did it start? Okay, can you hear me, friends? Let's make sure that you can hear me. I can hear you. Great. All right. Hi, Ellen. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Maureen. Shannon. Great. Okay, we're all set. Good. So it's always a consideration for because we're constantly moving around and we move equipment and there's nothing static here. We're constantly moving from one location to another. So thank you for putting up with the times that you don't hear me so well. I hear you. Sounds good. Great. Hello, Andrea. Hi, smiling tree branches in Mexico. Hello from Louisiana. Sound is good here. Great from Denver, says Marlene. It's great. I can hear you, says Susan. Junette says can hear. I refreshed and can now see Joette. Great. Nice to see you all. Hi, friends. So, shall we talk? Let's do that. Let's talk about cell salts. I have my favorites that I use on a regular basis. Some that I've used for years. I used when my children were growing especially. And as you know, there are 12 cell salts. Some say that there are another 12, but the basic 12 that Dr. Schussler discovered and arranged and helped us figure out how to use are basic 12 plus one more which is called bioplasma. Oh, good, you can hear me. It's 11 degrees in Chicago, says Allison. I know it's cold in many places. Skywalk, I hear you in Delray Beach. Hear you fine. Wonderful. And Rona says from Ajax, Ontario. Yeah, it's cold there too. All righty. So let's, we need to move this. Okay. Let's talk about the most common ones. Since I'm talking about my children, and when my children were little, I started using Calc phos. And I always used them in a 6X, used all of my remedy or my cell salts in a 6X, except Calc fluor, which I often used in a 12X. But then I met the Banerjees, and they use 3X or 3C. So they use a different potencies. And it's fine with me. It all seems to work regardless. But if I'm using a Banerjee protocol, I automatically use exactly what the Banerjees used. I don't play around with protocols because there's a reason why they're called protocols, because they have been shown to be very useful over many, many years, clinically speaking. So I used Calc phos when my children were growing. Calc phos also is, when you think about it, it's little. Think of it that way. It's little. It's for little people. It's for children. It's also a great medicine for me because I'm small. I'm 5 feet tall. And it is an excellent remedy for small women. And so it's great for bones and skin and hair and anxiety and sleeplessness, and for children who are growing. It's incredible for bones and tendons and muscles and growth, but also for calmness. To calm, it calms people who are nervous or are insomniacs, etc. And so Calc phos was a great medicine that I used, cell salt, that I used every day for my children as they were growing, particularly when they were growing rapidly. So I would often put it in their milk. I used to buy big gallons of raw milk, and I would put a few doses of it in the big gallon of milk, stir it in, it would dissolve, and then when they got their milk, they would get their cell salts. So that's when I was using it, not for a therapeutic reason so much, for a specific condition, but rather because they were growing so rapidly. And so Calc phos was one of my main ones. Now, Calc phos is also great during pregnancy, but the main medicine that I love during pregnancy, as far as cell salts are concerned, is Calc fluor. C-A-L-C, fluor, F-L-U-O-R, or Calcarea fluoridicum. And so I'm telling you about this too, because these two are often used in combination, particularly for bones and teeth. Calc phos helps grow and protect the teeth. Calc fluor helps with translucent teeth, or teeth that are chipping or delaminating, nails that are delaminating, skin that is peeling, stretching, too much stretching in the body, stretch marks, an indication of stretch marks that it's too much stretchability, skin that sags. Now, there are many reasons for all of these. One of them, you could have sagging skin because you're not getting enough fluids. You're not getting enough foods with collagen. You're not eating enough red meat. Could be all of those things. But let's say you're doing all of that, and yet the skin is sagging, or the wrinkles are developing, and the wrinkles are small, thin wrinkles, or tiny wrinkles, or they can be sagging skin, sagging wrinkles. Is Calc fluor the same as what's in toothpaste? You bet. That's why I was saying it's all about the teeth, delamination and translucency of teeth and cracking of teeth, etc. So Calc fluor is one of our great medicines for hardness or lack of hardness and stretching or lack of stretchability. So those two medicines really go well together, particularly in children because of the teeth and growth and bones, etc., and calming the nerves and keeping the child growing properly. Both those are great combinations. So you could use Calc phos and Calc fluor. And so you would use Calc phos 3 or 6 and Calc fluor 12. They could be used even together. Yes, mixing them. Oh, yes. We mix medicines here, my friends. We are medicine mixers here. We are mix masters. And so I'm going to tell you that, yes, I have often mixed cell salts. Now, what's another one? Since we're on the idea of teeth, right, in the toothpaste, why not silica? Silica, 6X, 3X, though either one can be mixed with Calc phos, Calc fluor, silica. All three of those are excellent for people who have problems with their teeth. Now, or they have issues. It doesn't have to be an absolute problem. It could be somewhat of an issue. It could be that the teeth are growing in. Maybe they need just a little boost. But I would not take any homeopathic medicine. Let me see if I can think of any situation in which it was unnecessary. I'm always looking for, Your Honor, this will stand up in court. The reason I'm using this Calc phos, Calc fluor, and silica, those twice daily for each of those medicines, is because you can see, Your Honor, the teeth are delaminating. The child is growing quickly, and we can't, and the child is nervous. It's not sleeping properly, and the bones are aching in the night when she's trying to sleep, and the skin is not flexible enough, and we're seeing stretching, or we're seeing that there's not enough stretchability, and then et cetera, et cetera. That's what I want you to do, my friends. I want you to be able to present this in a court of law. Ellen says, Calc fluor helped when a root canal is recommended. Can Calc fluor help when a root canal is recommended? I don't think so. That is not what it's used for. A root canal means to me that the tooth is dead. Now, I'm not going to tell you that your tooth is dead or that the person you're talking about's tooth is dead, because sometimes they do it even when the tooth is not actually dead. But usually it does mean the tooth is dead. And there's not much you can do. But hey, what have you got to lose? Really? Right? Phoenicia says, Calc, fluor, Calc, phos, and silica together helped remove my teeth sensitivities when eating certain foods, and also due to water temperatures. Yes, and liquids. You're absolutely right, Phoenicia. Those 3 medicines are excellent for the teeth. And these are common medicines. I discussed them last week. I'm going a little bit more detail this week. But let's go on to another medicine that I absolutely adore, another cell salt. And that is Cali phos, K-A-L-I. Kalium is the full word, phosphoricum, but we call it Cali phos for short. 2 words, Cali phos. And I like that in a 6 or 3. And I love this medicine for brains that are overworked, working overtime, too much study, too much thinking, too much worry, especially study. So it's for our children who are studying, or if you're studying if you're in the academy, in my academy, and you're studying too hard, and I know you are because it's rigorous, then you may need some Cali phos. Yes, indeed. You might want to keep it right there on your desk, so that when you feel like, oh my gosh, I can't fill my brain with another thing. There's so much information. I can't even think straight. I'm exhausted. I can't go. My brain is petrifying, or my brain is mush. Cali phos. I used to give this to my children when they were in college, and they would put it in their backpacks, and they would take it before exams. And they said they loved it. They said it helped them. Elizabeth says, I just love Cali phos. Now I'm in the academy, and it's been my best friend. So you're using it. That's great to hear. Nice job. Great to hear. I'm taking Cali phos now, says Phoenicia, LOL. Excellent, excellent. So I want you to think about it. It's a great remedy for insomnia. It's a great remedy for anxiety, for sleep. We've got other remedies. We've got other remedies for anxiety. We've got coffea and aconitum and, etc. We've got lots of medicines for anxiety. But Cali phos could really be something that could really pick it up and carry it along better, or along with another medicine that you might choose, such as aconitum or coffea, etc. Now let's talk about another medicine that we don't talk about quite as much. And then we'll go back to a more common one again. And that is Cali sulf. Cali sulf, Calcium sulfuricum. Cali sulf, K-A-L-I-S-U-L-F. I love this medicine especially for issues that have to do with perspiration. Perspiration that has been suppressed. I've got some notes here that I want to remember. I don't want to forget. It is to promote perspiration when the person is not perspiring, but they need to. Let's say if they have a fever, this could be a very useful medicine for that. But I also like it as a stuffiness remedy. The ears are stuffy. The ears can be uncomfortable. This is for feeling of sounds in the ears. It's also, let's see, I don't want to lose this. Let me just make sure I've got this. Stuffiness of the nose, and whether it's stuffiness for a particular reason or not. Some people say, yeah, well, I got stuffiness, but that's because I inherited it. Or I have got stuffiness, but that's because I'm allergic to milk and I've been drinking milk. Is it stuffiness or is it not? That's what we want to know. Regardless of the etiology, regardless of what the explanation is, most people, and this is a writer-downer, my friends, most people think that their condition is unusual. And not most, I think everybody. No, you don't understand. My suffering is different than anyone else's. Well, that's the way you're experiencing it. And it's not because the person who's saying it is ridiculous. It's because they're human. Everybody thinks their problem is unique. Oh, you don't understand. Nobody else has this. I have this. And then if they go to a doctor and the doctor's not able to help, what's the doctor going to say? I don't know what to do for you, and let it go with that. Or does the doctor often say, your case is difficult. Well, you did inherit it. You do have extra weight. And then they put it back on the patient. And I'm going to tell you that that just adds to the decision, the belief in the person that they're in an extraordinary case. And so when someone thinks that their case is extraordinary, they think it's complex, complicated, difficult, unapproachable, incapable of ever being resolved. And if you think nothing can be resolved, or that your life, your illness can't be resolved, you give up, right? You give up. You don't want to go any further. You're thinking, what else can I do? There's nothing left for me to do. And so the fear is then anxiety starts to grow, and the belief that there's no hope starts to grow, and that makes for a very difficult person to get past all of this. And the person is stuck, deeply stuck. Yeah, Victoria says, Kelly self-sick for poison ivy rash, especially on the face during the great disruption of society, and I could not buy anacardium or rus. So it helped. Victory. She's saying it was a victory. That's excellent. Yes. Yeah, Melissa says they hear hoofbeats and don't think horse. Instead, they think zebra. Yeah, they think their problem is unusual. Yes. Yes. Yeah, noise in the ear. Yes, it can be for tinnitus. And a feeling of thickness in the ear, and tinnitus, and crackling sounds, and spitting, and strange sounds in the ears. That's a great one for that. So think about it for ears. Now, look, I'm not going to give you everything. I would always use these. I use these cell salts in either 3s or 6s. That's my potency. Generally, I start with that. Okay. Oh, my goodness, Kathy, I'm sorry. My grandson has a broken jaw that hit him at 60 miles per hour. Oh, he's on his way to an oral surgeon now. Yes, arnica, hypericum, that's absolutely right. I'm so sorry to hear. Hypericum for the pain, arnica for the shock, and arnica for the bleeding and pain and shock. We're not choosing between them. We're using both. Yes, anxiety could be part of this too. Anxiety would be, aconitum for the shock as well. And that can help with anxiety. Yes, prayers for him. Yes, thank you, Shannon. Shannon's saying aconitum with for the shock. Praying, says Kathy. Thank you very much, friends, for helping each other out. I'm giving Kelly Self to a young kitty, sinus congestion, since he was rescued from abandonment. Cali Bic did not help. Day or 2, it seems looser maybe. Yeah, that's good. Keep going with it. Sometimes it takes more than a day or 2. Sometimes it can take weeks for some of these conditions, especially for chronic conditions. Especially if it's chronic, it will take weeks, most likely. All righty, now let's go to the next one. Mag-phos, one of my favorites. This is a very well-known medicine. Mag-phos, I call it mug-phos. Why? Because I get the 4 or 5 pills of mag-phos, which I call mug-phos, in a 6X, and I put them in a mug of hot water. Now, it would be better if it was in a thermos of hot water, because the thermos will hold the heat much longer, but thermophos doesn't quite hit it the way mug-phos does. It's not as memorable. So I'm going to tell you, you can put it in a thermos, and it's great for cramping and pain that's better on pressure. So it's that menstrual cramping in which the young woman is holding her abdomen and maybe even rocking, and she's pressing against her abdomen. Maybe she has a hot water bottle against it. It's great medicine. You take a sip. Every time you take a sip, it is a dose. 1 sip. Sip's about a tablespoon. 1 dose, and you've got 1 good tablespoon of a dose of that hot mug-phos is a dose. And so when you take it, you're going to take a sip. Put your top back on your thermos, or hold your mug so it stays warm. And then a few seconds later, you're going to take another sip. Each sip, which is about a tablespoon, is a dose, and you can keep doing it. You can keep repeating like this until you see the pain start to relieve. And the keynotes for mug-phos, are that it's better for warmth, such as, it feels so good if I could just have a hot water bottle on my back, or on my leg, or on my abdomen, or on my head, and press. It would feel so good if I could just get pressure and heat up against it. Not that it makes it go away. We're not asking you what makes it go away, because if that made it go away, then you wouldn't even need to know anything about homeopathy, but it helps to improve it to a certain degree. Yeah, back spasms, Buffy. You're absolutely right. Mag phos for back spasms, for leg cramps, menstrual cramps, for kidney colic. Yes. Muscle spasms in general. I used mag phos for back spasms successfully, Buffy, says Shelley. Very nice. Yes, very good. Yep. Success for me and with mag phos, says Elizabeth. I had terrible hiccups. Yes, it's also for spasms like that kind too. A hiccup is a spasm, so it could be a spasm in the leg, spasm in the abdomen, spasm. It could even for the heart. That kind that aren't funny but rack your whole body and last for days. I tried mag phos 6X, and after the first mug, the hiccups left and didn't return. First time they ever did that in their strength. Hiccups can be really brutal. I don't know if you know that, friends. Hiccups can be quite concerning, and they're common after surgery, especially after heart surgery. So you should remember that. Sometimes people come out of surgery and they have hiccups, and it racks the entire body. Would a mug phos help with Charlie horses in the calves at night? You bet. Absolutely. Certain headaches. Yes, Allison, especially if it's better from warmth and pressure. Yes. Yes, it was wonderful to sit with him today. Kathy's explaining that and explain the remedies. Just wondered how long without mint. I took him no mint toothpaste. Well, look, if you're repeating the remedy, I don't know how much mint he's getting. He's not brushing his teeth all day long, so he's brushing his teeth, and then from that time forward, you're giving him the remedies. I would not worry about the mint. I mean, he doesn't want to overdo it, but I would not worry about the mint. I'll try mag phos for 2-month-old. She gets horrible hiccups that make her cry. Yes. Yes, and you know what, Tina B? You're probably going to find out that is going to deal with other issues as well. Could help her sleep better. It could make her feel more comfortable in her body, in her sleep. I think you'll see a nice change from mag phos in general for her, for the baby. All right, what else do we have? What strength for an infant with hiccups after eating? What do you think? My friends, tell Tammy what strength. I don't know what you mean by strength. I think you might be asking about potency, right? Are you asking about potency, Tammy? If you're asking about potency, I'm telling you what potency is to start with. Okay? Does it matter if it's a newborn child? What if it's an old goat? What if it's a 90-year-old man? What if it's a menopausal woman? What if it's a pregnant woman? What if it's a horse? What if it's a cow? Do we change the potencies because of the animal, the age, the size, the circumstance? Now, certain circumstances we might change the potency, but in what I'm describing, these are the circumstances. We're going to stay with what I'm teaching, 3X or 6X. That's absolutely right, unless it's Calc fluor, and then I often use it in a 12. Let's see. Would mag phos help with Charlie horses and the calves? Yes, I said that already. I answered. It was wonderful to sit with him today. Okay, I'll try mag phos for 2-year-old. She gets horrid hiccups. Got that. Mag phos works well with my mom when she gets cramps in her calves at night, keeping her up. So with that mug I told you about, make it a thermos instead. Fill the thermos with hot water. For every ounce of hot water, 1 pill of the remedy of mag phos. So if you've got 8 ounces of hot water, you've got 8 pills of mag phos 6X. Shake it up, make sure it's dissolved and incorporated in the water. Put the thermos by your bed. If you get leg cramps, open it up. It's still hot. It works better in the hot water. Mag phos, not the other ones so much. Ferrum phos too, but mag phos, generally speaking, mag phos is our medicine that we use for that is a medicine that works better when it's in hot water, and take it as a sip. You can put that thermos under your pillow. You get a leg cramp in the middle of the night, you grab that thermos and take a sip. Wait another minute or so, 30 seconds, take another sip. Wait another 30 seconds and sip. Okay, and now you're done. You can do that for the same reason with menstrual cramps. Keep it in the bed, right in the bed with you. I know not a cell salt, but I used Lyco-Rs for my nephew with chronic hiccups when my mag phos didn't help. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Celeste. Good thinking. Yeah, something to do with the gut, obviously. Mag-phos works well for my mom when she gets, okay, got that already. Let's see. 6X's, everybody's coming in. It matters not how old, says Harry. You're absolutely right. Doesn't matter how old the person is. And that goes into that same idea. But in my circumstance, you don't understand. This is for a newborn. Regardless, I give homeopathic medicines to newborns. I'm right there at the home birth. For my own home births years ago, for other women's home births, the medicine is right there for the baby. We don't change anything. Seconding Carrie in Texas victory with mag-phos for terrible tickle cough that is coming with a virus going around. Yeah, that's great. Yes. All right, let's look at another remedy, shall we? Another cell salt. I won't be able to get through them all. Nat phos is a good one. Let's see what else we've got here that would be kind of fun to go over. Ferrum phos. Let's talk about ferrum phos, shall we? The way that I taught ferrum phos, ferrum is F-E-R-R-U-M, and phos is P-H-O-S, 2 words. But listen to the phonetics. It's F sound and F sound for the F and then for the PH. Ferrum phos, it's for inflammation. Now, this is not just any inflammation because the world has changed and everybody thinks everything's an inflammation. And I tend to, perhaps it is. Perhaps it is an inflammation. But what I mean by inflammation here is for something like a sore throat. It also happens to be for anything blood-related. Love it for blood-related issues. It is a great remedy for first aid, that ferrum phos. And I use it in what potency do I use it in? 3X or 6X. That's absolutely right. For what age? Infant, toddler, child, adolescent, teenager, young adult, mom, pregnant mother, middle-aged person, menopausal man, woman, child, elderly man, elderly woman, old goat, baby goat. It's all the same. We use it in the same way for the same conditions. Let's see. I got some other questions. Do they work like remedies? They are remedies, Sally. They are remedies. Is a pellet a dose? No. Well, the dose is written on the outside of the bottle. And some of these manufacturing pharmacies have changed it a little bit so that perhaps in certain circumstances they might say 1 pellet is a dose. And in other circumstances or in other pharmacies, they will tell you the number. 4 pills is a dose, 5 pills is a dose, etc. Okay. Shelley says, stepdad in a hospital with a kidney failure and liver cirrhosis. His skin is flaking off like snow. You mentioned one for skin. Could you speak on that again? I tried the Banerjee protocol for kidneys, but we can't keep using that one. Okay. Well, for flaking skin, who wants to talk about flaking skin? Anybody have one for flaking skin? I just mentioned it a minute ago. Yes, that's the thing. I remember a bottle says 5 pellets, but we know even a drop of it in the water is a dose. Quantity doesn't matter with remedies. A dose can be 100 pellets or 1. Okay. All right. A goat. Yes. You're oh, here we go. Well, let's see. Colic pain. Colic pain. One of our best medicines for colic pain is mag-phos. We just talked about especially when it's better from pressure and heat. And now for those of you who are my mighty members, in a minute we'll be going to you, and I'll be saying goodbye to everyone else. And I'll be just with my mighties. And let's see if we can get through a few more. Yeah. Would mag-phos act for a 6-month-old if spitting up a lot and many weeks of nat phos? Well, that's the other one I would love to talk about is nat phos, but we're already at 8 or 8:30. Brilliant. Kathy, any news on the way Monday class is delayed? I don't know what that means. Let's see. Let's get to the bottom. Cali sulf for flaking skin. You're absolutely right, Heather. Thank you. Cali sulf. I nicked my dog's nail during a clipping and used a crushed up ferrum phos tab to stop the bleeding. Yes. And the inflammation. Good thinking, Shannon. Good thinking. Does anyone have the chat from last week saved? I think, aren't the chats noted, Perry? Don't the chats just stay in place? Yeah, I don't know either. Love homeopathy for my plants, says Tracy. You're absolutely right. Okay, my friends, it's time for me to go. I will see you next week. Are you prepared for Christmas? Are you all done? And we're going to go right to Joette's Mighty Members.